Hi everyone, welcome to Outrageous. I am your guest host this week, comedian Dana Goldberg. We're going to be talking about out comedians, and I have three incredible guests. Collectively, we've been seen on Comedy Central, Last Comic Standing, Man on the Moon, Conan. You are not going to want to miss this. Please welcome my guests this week, Erin Foley, Brad Loekly, and Melanie Vesey. Yay! So we're going to start from the beginning, like, not birth, but like when you first realized you were gay. Yeah. Brad, do you remember your coming out?
I do. There were many. I think for most people you don't necessarily come out once, like unless you came out, like if you're Ellen or Neil Patrick Harris, you kind of come out on the cover of a magazine. You've kind of come out to everyone on earth at once. I did have, in retrospect, a boyfriend in the first grade.
As did I. That changed quickly.
See, I stuck with it.
How do you guys remember first grade?
Jesus.
I remember everything about myself. But yeah, I definitely realized I was gay. Like, I realized what gay was and that this is what I was when I was about 12.
I am what gays either call a gold star gay or a thoroughbred. I've never had any legitimate sexual contact with a woman. It really is true. The only vagina I ever touched is the one I came out of. And I had my eyes closed in the fetal position, screaming the whole time. And this is true. I was actually born 10 days late, and I used to tell people it's because I was petitioning for a C-section in utero.
And the first couple people I told were some of my aunts. My mother has 7 sisters, all Italian, Irish, Catholic, alcoholics.
Why, that's not a sitcom, I'll have no idea.
Yeah. It's more of a running with scissors kind of family. But I told my aunts first, and they drove sports cars and took the pill and had abortions, and they were cool.
Oh my God.
They were rock stars to me. So, but I actually didn't come out to my parents because my mother overheard a phone conversation I was having with one of her sisters and pulled me into the living room when my father was asleep, and we had a huge confrontation that was very dark and very bad. And then that kind of went on. So then what ended up happening is I came out at school, but like we never talked about it at home, so school got very intense.
Like in a musical, or?
Yeah, well, I was in the musical, so that was basically coming out.
Right. I feel like a lot of us probably got outed by landlines, which most people don't know what they are anymore, because you couldn't take your phone outside of the house to have the conversation.
And someone could pick up on the other end quietly.
And just listen. What do you mean you're gay?
Mom, hang up!
The extension.
But yeah, exactly. But yeah, so by the time I was in freshman year, I came out publicly between 8th grade and 9th grade at Jill Penaluna's pool party.
Jill.
And we have Jill with us.
Gay men, it's a horrible stereotype in a community, and if you are one of those gay men, if you hate on lesbians, you better goddamn love on them, because lesbians are the reason we got marriage equality in this country. Those bitches are organized. They did it state by state, the Supreme Court, they did it! Because they are organized. It is not that we didn't want marriage equality. It's not that many people in this room don't want to get married or aren't married. It's just that those protests were really early on a Sunday morning. And the lesbians knew. They didn't give a shade. They didn't want us there. They would get up at 6:45 on a Sunday because lesbians are the velociraptors of our community. They hunt in packs. They're very organized, very intelligent. And it's never the one you see in front of you got to worry about. It's the two on the sides.
I had no idea I was gay until I met a female New York City police officer who turned my shit out pretty quickly. I was 26 years old, and I had a friend of mine who was at Bellevue Hospital. He'd been checked in, and the cop on his case was this gorgeous Latina police officer. And I was like, that's it, I'm gay. I'm done, thank you very much.
Tapping out.
Yeah. And, so it was God intervened, essentially. God was like, you're not getting the cues. You're not picking up on the cues.
Then I just said, hey, thanks for fucking me last night. That's all I said. Because when you're having forever married sex, you know what I mean? Sometimes you just gotta put a little tip in the jar. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? stop what you're doing. That's really great. Thanks for fucking me last night. Just a high five.
Erin, can you follow New York City police officer? I actually fell in love with a New York City firefighter.
Hot!
I didn't. She lied.
I was about to say.
Everybody knew I was gay except me, so that was awkward. And then, mid-20s, I met a lady, had a 17 gin and tonics, we made out, and that was it. So I'd like to thank Tanqueray, really, in particular, for sponsoring me being gay. Yeah, I would need to thank the UNM women's softball team, because that's how I figured it out. I was 18, I had a crush on the first baseman and the catcher, because every catcher in softball. Yes. And that was basically it. I was crying when I told my mother, and she stopped what she was doing, and she was like, "What the hell's wrong?" And I was like, "I like somebody, and I want to be able to bring him home, and it's a girl." And my mom was like, "What did you think it was gonna do? Look at him and go, 'You're a woman.'" And I was like, "Okay, take it down." My coming out was easier.
So this is the thing, lots of lesbians in here, I know this. We do weird things right before a breakup. We do weird things to try and fix a relationship. Some of you book a vacation, waste a shit ton of money. I'm one of these people, I really wanted it to work, so I was like, let's go talk to someone, let's process this. And she wanted to foster a blind chihuahua. So we got the chihuahua. We did. Have you ever tried to foster a blind animal? I love animals. Blind animals take a specific amount of care. So I'm researching this. And they said that with the very small blind dogs, you have to be careful because when they wander around, they can get stuck in corners and then they get disoriented. And you need to get them and point them in the right direction. It's like, oh my God, we are fostering a Roomba. We're fostering...
Mine was just awkward because my parents are like old school Irish Catholic conservative. So, but it would have been awkward if I brought a dude home. Like it was just so awkward. No one's having sex in this family. They're very private. And in a nutshell, my mom asked me if I was gay. I had been home for a week, and she asked me at 8 a.m. and I had a train back to the city at 9 a.m. because that's how the Irish do it. And then it was really awkward and uncomfortable, but I always knew that would be it. There would be no, you can't do this or you can't do that. It would just be, Mary Foley awkward. And that's what it was.
A huge round of applause for the Laugh Factory for allowing gay people to be in public. It's pretty good. It's pretty amazing. As a gay woman in the Trump regime, I realize I've limited nights to speak in public, so... This could be it! This could be it, you guys! Oh my God, me up here with my opinions. Shut it down!
Interestingly enough, you have a twin sister that's not gay. Yes, I have two sisters that are straight, and I took one happily for the team. Yes. So it's been quite supportive after that. I just, Good. And so I got lucky that supportive of coming out and saying, I'm going to be a professional clown, a professional jokester. Was coming out as a comic hard for you guys with your family? Like saying, this is what I want to do? Like, how did that even start?
Not for me. I mean, they weren't even fazed by me coming out as gay. They were just happy for me. It's really been a non-issue in my family with coming out. Great. I think it's because I've been such a wild animal my whole life. They're just totally like, you're alive. Whatever you're doing, keep doing that. Seriously, and it's been smooth sailing ever since.
That's fantastic. My mom has never had a problem with my comedy or me being gay. I remember, though, she came up after a show once and she goes, I didn't mind the sex jokes. Everything was fine. Did you have to say I was 63 on stage? That was my Jewish mother response to me being a gay comedian. That was it for her.
I have a very proud Jewish mother, but I don't think it would matter what I did. Like, she's a little ridiculous. Like, I could have a brother that would rob a bank and go to prison, and my mom would be like, Joey's good, came into a lot of money, moved into a gated community.
When did you start comedy, Brad?
I started comedy like in my early 20s, but I went to college for the arts. I went to the University of the Arts in Philadelphia to be an actor and a singer and a dancer, and I did that for a bunch of years around the country till I grew to deeply dislike that. And so comedy was kind of my last stop in show business of me being like, okay, now if I'm not going to be because from the time I was 10 or 12 on, I was performing in like summer stock and community theater, and everyone assumed that's what I was going to do. I was going to go be a Broadway baby. So me getting into comedy, they were like, okay, this is just another weird, poor business choice you're making.
Oh, and straight people. Where are the straight people? That sounds like mostly like straight girls. Would that be correct? Yay, straight girls! I do love straight girls. I love that the new thing, especially the last couple of years, are the straight girls who love to go to the gay bars just to hang out because you're gluttons for punishment. And it's like straight bar, gay bar, degraded or ignored, degraded or ignored.
The parents are fairly hands-off, so to them they're like, we just don't care. We don't care who you sleep with or what you do for a living. Just try to stay out of our way. We've got lives to live.
Yeah. I feel like it's a circle of it's like awkward, even more awkward, cool, like it's
We are actually the range of accepting parents.
This is the spectrum.
This is the spectrum.
From rough to nothing.
Yeah. Once it starts being, do you guys notice once it starts being like successful? Like once I was on TV, my father was over the moon. Like my father is as proud as me as he can be of any human being on earth, and everyone in our county knows me. Like I'm like a local star. And my mother started to accept it because business partners of her were like, "Your son was on our TV last night. That's amazing." She's like, "Oh, okay, that's like you being the partner in a firm the way I am." Like she can now equate the two kind of ideas.
Right.
I can tell you right now, the hardest part about being gay, it is the beauty regimen. It is a lot. Seriously, if you put me in a group of straight guys, I'm a catch. If you put me in a group of gay guys, I'm precious.
I think my mom's always been proud, but now as I get more famous, she's starting to barter. Where she's like, "Can you get me breakfast with Billy Crystal?" I'm like, "No, not yet. I can't even get me breakfast with Billy Crystal."
I can't even get me breakfast.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get up early, so that's part of it. But
Breakfast is already ended.
breakfast is exhausting.
You work so hard, Erin. You've been touring the country for a long time. You do a lot of club work. You've been on television, Conan, several episodes there.
Super fun to be back here. I love living in California. You just feel healthier when you live in the state of California. The problem is the people of Los Angeles take the healthy living to extremes. With the cleanses and the juices and the wheatgrass and the colonics, and those people don't stop talking about it. Non-stop. Hey, Rebecca, how are you? Good, really good, really good. For the last 12 days, I've just had apples, and all the maple syrup I want, and I feel clear.
Are you doing gay material in the clubs right now?
Yeah, I mean, my trajectory was a little different because I didn't talk about being gay on stage for the first 8 years I was doing stand-up because I honestly didn't know I was gay. So, so, I mean, I did, but stand-up is so hard, then you add the gay stuff on it. And I was in Manhattan and you just get up so much and so, you know, I started touring, and what I do is all straight comedy clubs. And I always say I'm gay. You're welcome, America.
Single-handedly.
Yeah, single-handedly. Maybe, no, we're in the same place. So when I do, let's say, like a gay show, it's so fun because I don't have to worry about what minute
how you're
am I
setting
gonna
it
come
up
out.
and
I literally
how
have to
you
come
work.
out every single night in these comedy clubs for the last 10
And then
years.
manage it, don't you
And
feel
then
like you have
manage
to?
it. And now, in this climate, it's like, Jesus, you know, like, how's this gonna go? So it is interesting times out there, I've decided how I'm gonna survive the next 4 years is I'm gonna be gayer. I'm gonna be gayer. I'm gonna be gayer. I am gonna be gayer. Yes. We just confirmed that most of you are straight at a gay show. Here's the thing. I don't know exactly what that means. More flannel, something. I'm gonna figure it out. Maybe start a gay underground railroad and get the teens out of the South. Something like that. Crawl up through a manhole during a softball game. Ladies, get in!
So Mel, I know that your comedy career and your acting career, and this is more of a serious subject for you, basically got derailed by
Yes.
something that happened with that New York cop that you met.
Yes, that is totally true.
Tell our viewers what happened.
Well, the New York City police officer ended up shooting me, and at the time I started off as an actor. I actually started off as a ballerina, went to Juilliard and Martha Graham and all that stuff.
God, that's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, well, I
She's
feel
like one of my
Contraction.
heroes. Yes.
like an underachiever.
Contraction.
Graham's one of my personal heroes. You wouldn't be able to look at it.
And then from Juilliard, I then transitioned to Stella Adler and became a working actress, and did Homicide and Law and Order, and I got and so I co-starred with Jim Carrey in Man on the Moon. But as it was all kind of climbing, the cop shot me. It's a long story and a terrible story. However, everything then went away.
Right.
I was unable to hold on to my career, and I had a lot of pain about that. However, what that did do is it shifted my point of view. It also gave me a story, more stories to tell. And I think, got the courage or what have you to then step out as opposed to, as an actor, just as a hired gun, to then start telling my own story.
Right.
And then I started doing comedy out here in LA, and because people were always like, "You're really funny," and I was a little bit of a prima donna, so I wasn't going to do an open mic. And then they were like, "Well, I can give you time at the Comedy Store," and I was like, "We're in. Okay, great. Let's start there." So I started doing comedy there, and then I wrote, directed, produced, and brought to distribution a fully functioning human being. So
It's not where I thought that sentence was at.
I know. Well, in this town, you're producing your children's lives.
I'm usually like the only gay mom at my kids' school, and all the straight moms are always so flipped out about the birds and the bees talk. The birds and the bees talk. When do I do it? How do I do it? The birds and the bees talk. And I'm like, try the cucumber Twizzler talk, okay?
So, collective question for all of you. Do you feel like you come up against discrimination publicly because you're gay? I know for mine, it's on social media, it's on Twitter. Those are the people that feel very vocal and they're allowed to be homophobic because they're behind the protection of their keyboard. On stage, I haven't had to deal with it a lot, but have you felt any sort of bigotry being an out comic, or that it's been harder for you being gay in this industry?
That's always a tough question because, there are moments on stage throughout the years where it's gone south by, some drunk homophobe, pick a city, smaller town.
Maybe red. Maybe red.
In the middle. Now I go over. I don't stop. But overall, I have to say that I could probably count that on one hand.
Yeah.
And when I made the decision, and it wasn't like a gate, like, oh my God, I'm gonna do this for that. Like, I just decided with stand-up, I was missing this whole part of my life. Right. And I so deeply in love with stand-up, it just felt like, God, everyone talks about their relationships, and you finally get comfortable enough as a human being, as a woman, to talk about your personal life, that I think stand-up became so much more fun, and I became a lot more successful because it was all of me talking,
Absolutely.
which is a huge part of me. So, I think it's helped. I think it's hurt. It is what it is. I'm not in control of it. I'm just happier talking about it.
That's how I feel. I'm like, I started out on stage, so I don't know any different. I don't know if my career would be different if I hadn't.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think what I'm realizing, especially in this day and age, funny's funny, and we all have the same
Yes.
human experiences of
Right.
crazy families, crazy relationships, and if you take the pronouns out of whatever I'm saying,
Right.
an audience can relate.
Yeah.
So, Brad, have you dealt with anything?
Yeah, I mean, I would say social media is the bastion of those people, and bullies are also inherently cowards. So social media is a safe place for them to have an opinion about women or gay comedy or people of color or whatever, and they tend to shut up when they're in the room with us, especially when we have the microphone and the stage. But I will say, I think it actually changes people's minds, because I think a lot of those kinds of people go in with a mindset of like, oh, and now it's a gay comic or a girl comic. But if they can suddenly relate to a joke, if there's an in early on that they get in, they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And to them, it's almost more impressive because it's like a zany, crazy world they never thought they'd understand.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
And
a
it's
Jacques
the same
Cousteau and
world.
Shark
Yeah.
Week. Like, it's like,
And all of a sudden, you give them permission to laugh at things they
Right.
wouldn't normally
Yeah.
laugh
Right,
at.
Yeah.
and you give them an understanding of like how much closer we all are. how similar, you know, gay men are to straight men, and how similar women are to men.
You're both
and
men. I just got.
So yeah, I mean, if anything, I have more memories and recollections of it going well and being more than you have that. And the Erin drunk person is if you weren't going to call out queer, you were going to call out bitch, or you were going to call out something to somebody else.
All of those people that think they're funnier in the audience because they've had 8 gin and tonics.
Right.
Don't throw gin and tonics under the bus. It's not.
She wouldn't be here
like
today without
white
them.
wine coolers.
My
or
favorite,
some-
actually, some of my favorite shows of yours is when you're on cold medicine and a white wine spritzer.
Oh.
I know. Once every couple of years it goes south.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
so good.
I call it relaxing.
Awesome. You guys, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for joining me.
Thank you.
It was wonderful to see you.
It was great, sort of.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It filled a hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, it filled a hole and a void and a slot.
I am not gonna lie, I have been drunk since November 8th. I have been shit-faced. Every day, just drinking and marching and drinking and marching, march and drink and march. March and drink and march. Give me that pink hat, marching, drink and march. Fantastic.
Thank you so much for joining us. If you would like your story told on this show, you can go ahead and contact us right here.